The NFL season's over. We've talked the Super Bowl. Now it's time to actually get into the season itself. And the best way to do that on this show, of course, is with a top 5. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to do the top 5 observations from this NFL season.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the 323's Top 5.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
That's right. The top 5 observations from this past NFL season, according to the 323. We have all your favorites here. Scott Ellia, Zuhair Ali. We're each going to give you a top 5 list here of our observations. Did we put a lot of thought into this? You'll never know. So we'll start. I'll go ahead and kick this off and give you guys some time to put it in order if you need to, and we'll close out with Scott. Zoo will go after me, and my first thought here at number 5, no lies for me, is that a year without Tom Brady. This is the first year in my lifetime watching the NFL that there was no Tom Brady, and a year without Tom Brady, it's very bizarre. But it definitely opened the door for the new kings of quarterbacking, right? You have I paid a lot more attention to Mahomes, a lot more attention to Josh Allen, Lamar, Burrow. It gave me reason to get really excited about CJ Stroud in Houston. So it opens the door, but it was still weird. I think I got used to it by the end, and I definitely got used to it in the damn Super Bowl, as Mahomes now takes that Tom Brady role of do not leave that man anytime at the end of a game to go against you, because Brady was that horror story before. So that's my number 5. I miss Tom Brady, but I don't miss Tom Brady, and I guess we'll get him on Fox, and maybe he'll be super passive aggressive towards Mahomes during these games after he kicks Greg Olsen out of the booth. Zoo, your number 5?
My number 5 is the Jags still have a lot of work to do.
Oh, not the Jags.
They got their coach. They had a huge free agency splash. The AFC South was supposed to be mid at best. They were supposed to take over and be dynamic and have all their pieces together with their stud quarterback. None of that happened. None of that happened.
Weirdly mid-season by them. Yeah. Don't know what to make from that.
Make it to the playoffs.
I don't know what to make of their future, to be honest. I don't know how that works from here on. Calvin Ridley, kind of a disappointment, to the point that we might just get rid of him from the Calvin Ridley Memorial betting slip. I think, you brought him up during Super Week. Keyshawn Booty, damn good candidate. Got to get that booty. Scott, your number 5?
Number 5, simple question. What happened to Philly? I remember when the Eagles they were 10-1, and they were Super Bowl contenders about halfway through this past year, and it feels like it's so long ago. They dropped their last 4 or 5, including against the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Giants. They were banged up, but their defense just couldn't stop anything towards the end of the year. So I don't know what their outlook looks like going into next season.
Now we take their offensive coordinator.
And we put him on some assistant role. Yeah, go yourselves, Philly.
Yeah, he's they still haven't even announced the role yet. I think it's just pass game coordinator. Unless what I sent you earlier today had an answer.
It's weird times. Go Washington. Interesting coaching choices there. I like it. Number 4 for me is, the referees. Holy shit.
Yeah,
it seems reffing is getting bad just about every year. It just gets worse and worse. And I don't know what was going on this year. It just seemed like there was an awful call every single major game. Every week there was at least 2 calls that just caused outrage, and you couldn't keep up with any of the others that were happening in other games. I know miserably watching Commanders games, I was seeing lots of shitty calls by refs going towards both sides, but it was just infuriating. And I get that there's human error, and you're going to have that issue with, human refs. And I don't necessarily want them to lose their jobs to the robots, but I mean, shit, we're watching it at home, and it's still like to the point that we're getting it faster than they are, and we're getting calls more correctly than they are. They still can't even like process what a catch is in the NFL. So something needs to be done about the referees. Something needs to be done with officiating in the NFL. I'm sure they'll maybe address it in the offseason, but the union is really tough and strong. So
Minions with AI.
I would love minion referees. We need them.
We got our Toy Story football game. Now we need our Minions one.
We also got our SpongeBob game. I don't know if you guys watched the Super Bowl.
Those are great.
That seemed really fun as hell. Super Bowl from Bikini Bottom. Zoo, you're number 4.
Number 4 was the AFC. Ugh. Patriots. Ugh. Bills. Ugh. Jets. Ugh. Dolphins. Thought we were on to something, and then as soon as you make a team that can put up a fight, I mean, we thought that they were going to be super dynamic and the powerhouse, and like at the worst, the Patriots were going to be competent. No, none of that happened.
No. Scott, you're number 4.
Number 4 is that the NFC South is just still a mess. I mean, you got the Bucks who won out with a very mid 9-8 record this year. They won it last year in 2022, 8-9. But I mean, they're probably the most complete team, which is crazy to think about. I don't think it really matters who's under center. They're going to have to come away with it because you have, an inept owner and David Tepper in Carolina who, likes throwing drinks on people and fighting fans and doesn't know how to hire a coach. And then you have, Dennis Allen and Derek Carr kind of going at it time and time again. It's just like the NFC South is just a shit show. That's all it is.
Why do so many coaches bully Derek Carr? What is it about him that is just like a perpetuation for just fighting?
It's supposed to be his face. I mean, Arthur Smith almost wanted to throw shots at him too.
Maybe his country voice is just a little too intimidating. Boy, howdy.
From Fresno.
I'm Derek Carr. Talking about diabetes. Oh, number 3 for me. I should do it in my Derek Carr voice the entire time. Number 3, I'm also with Zoo on this one partially. The AFC. Woof. Not necessarily so much of woof, but like the veteran teams, being the Bills, the Ravens, the Bengals, these teams whose windows we've been talking about closing or potentially, just shutting at some point soon for them, still whiffing. And I wonder where they go from here when you have the youth teams, which are, the Texans, the Dolphins, maybe the Colts, if Anthony Richardson can stay healthy. And maybe the Chargers. I mean, Scott picks the Chargers every year. And this might be, they get Jim Harbaugh now, so maybe this time. And then the Chiefs, obviously, you can't doubt them anymore. They're all sealing the shit up. So where do we go from here with the Bills, Ravens, and Bengals? I don't know. I'm curious to see how they adjust next season. Zoo, number 3.
The NFC North can only go up, right? I mean, we saw how incredible the Lions and Packers played. They still have very young teams that they're able to build on. I had the Bears taking the division. Like, they still have 2 really high picks, including the number 1 overall. So it's like, they have all the tools to build off of. Are they going to utilize that? I think the Vikings is the only big question because you don't know what you're going to do with Kirk. Are you going to draft somebody else? You're going to move up to get your guy. What's up with the free agent? Are they going to be kind of like just, are they the ones taking the step back? But overall, like, you would think the NFC North would be, a division worth stressing over on game week.
I'm as worried about the Vikings as I can be for a team that I don't really care about. Like, I'm worried about them, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Just because I think they're really going to screw themselves with this free agent situation they have between Kirk Cousins and Danielle Hunter, and not knowing who to pay, how to divvy up this money, and they're going to lose both of them. And next thing you know, you're just going to have the Vikings winding up with Sam Darnold leading them next season, hoping that Sam Darnold is Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith of next year, which it's a dangerous trend we're setting up in the NFL.
Oh God.
Scott, you're number 3.
Yeah, we're gonna stay there in the NFC North, and the Bears probably have like the most impossible decision to make going into this offseason. I mean, any choice they make with this first overall pick, there's gonna be scrutiny against it. So I feel like whatever choice they make, they need to own it and be unapologetic for what they do. Ultimately, I feel like they're gonna trade that first pick, but no, the Bears, they definitely are in a tough spot.
I'm fully in the belief now of the exact opposite. I'm a full believer in them taking Caleb Williams and trading Fields. Did you see the betting odds, the betting lines shift the other night for Fields to the Steelers?
I did, and that would be very interesting for Tomlin to go from a undersized hand white boy to a quarterback of Justin Fields' caliber. I'd be very interested to see what he could do with that.
I thought you were going to say of Justin Fields' color.
Oh, not in February.
Oh my God,
Reid.
Trubisky went back to the Bears in that deal too.
They'd be lucky to get the MVP. Oh, number two here for me. Number 2 is my I won't say bandwidth, my fanwidth, my sports bandwidth here. I realize this season, maybe it's just me getting older, or I don't know what it is, but my bandwidth for digesting other sports during the NFL season is just an absolute 0. I could not focus on any other. I had no idea what the hell was going on in the NBA outside of the time Draymond Green got suspended for punching somebody, for punching Jokic, and then had to go to therapy. Like, I didn't know what was happening in baseball. I don't remember at all who won the World Series. I don't know any. Who did? The Rangers? Damn, just spoiled the season for me.
He was going to rewatch it.
I was about to start my binge watch today of the entire MLB season.
You son of a bitch.
I can't keep up with anything else that's happening in sports, and now I feel like I'm getting like flooded with all this other stuff. Like I'm even shit like WrestleMania is like flooding into my brain because I have to get some stuff to take up that void that the NFL is leaving there before the UFL gets here. And you find your boy over at a DC Defenders game going ham on the beer snake and the lemons being thrown onto the field.
Hopefully I'm enjoying this time. I really just want to be your cameraman.
I want to get you. Yeah, we all need to go. And they say no shows on the facilities. We can absolutely do a show outside of the stadium and see what drunken mayhem walks on by us at Audi Field.
God.
Zoo, your number Zoo?
The number Zoo. Eric Bieniemy offense. What happened? There was just so much hype of having a Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator, one that worked with a great quarterback, one that worked with a great coach, one that everyone was speaking so highly of because he keeps you honest. And then we get that sick comeback in the Broncos game. We get those incredible 2 Eagles games. And then it was just, what happened? I mean, we had weapons. You had an offseason to develop an offensive line. Didn't draft anybody, didn't sign anybody except for Nick Gates. Yay, you saw how their offensive line went. That was just really, really disappointing.
Yeah, I don't know where the blame has to go on that offense. It does keep me questioning what we do with quarterback because of Sam Howell. Like, I really don't feel like it was a fair season to him, especially with that Washington Post article coming out about Bieniemy and how he was treating play calling, how he tried to like fight. I don't know. It was like he tried to fight, not fight, but argue and scream at Terry McLaurin during a practice. And I mean, when you're when you're running the ball and you're like the 7th ranked rushing offense as you run the ball, keep fucking running the ball. Don't get away with it from it. This isn't the Chiefs anymore. You don't have Patrick Mahomes. Sam Howell could be really good, but he's not Mahomes at all right now. He's still learning the game, so help the dude out. I don't feel like he got a fair shot this year, but I also don't know how you can pass up necessarily if you think that somebody's generational at number 2. So confusing times. We got plenty of off season to stress about this.
Yeah, just one of the newest things that I've been hearing is that, like, say they take Drake May at 2, and they somehow keep Brissett or somebody of that caliber to just be like the mentor backup. You're gonna have Sam Howell from being the 17-game starter to the 3rd string inactive. That's the
Rex Grossman. That's the Rex Grossman specialty, buddy.
Okay, but he was towards the end of his career when that happened. We're talking about it like a 23-year-old.
Hey, don't doubt Sam Howell. Could be into coaching and soon. We can get him there. Get him to the XFL or the UFL so we can have him at DC Defenders games with your boys, the 323. We'll keep communicating that message. More than awesome, Con. Scott, your number, Zoo?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't know what I'm more disgusted with. Your joke not landing or Zoo's Christoph Waltz impression that he did before he went with his number 2.
A joke can never not land for me. I will.
It's still up there
into the ground. Yeah, I'll keep that ball.
It's still going.
That's a Josh Allen Hail Mary.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned something about lingering around, and that's Bill Belichick lingered around one too many seasons there in New England. I mean, this was New England's, I think, worst season since the early 90s. So, yeah, I mean, the best thing he did, aside from winning all those Super Bowls there with Tom Brady, was at least securing a top 3 pick for him.
There's a defensive vacancy in San Fran now.
Oh
my God. What Belichick was the defensive coordinator.
God.
I was going to joke about Rivera earlier, but that would be more entertaining.
Well, where did he get an interview at? He had an interview. Was it for Dallas?
He had an
Dallas
interview
and Philly.
Yeah, Dallas and Philly. I'm surprised he didn't just round it out with the New York.
Just go.
Oh my gosh. Well, number 1 for me, the biggest observation I had from this season, and I've learned my lesson. I've said it countless times, but I can't say it enough. You cannot doubt Patrick Mahomes or Andy Reid anymore. This team should not have done well. Like they should have been like a 1st round loss, maybe 2nd round. But I doubted them all season. I doubted them every game in the playoffs. I said I wasn't going to do it in the Super Bowl, and I still picked the Niners because I couldn't bring myself to do it. And then they benched Kadarius Toney, and all their problems were fixed. Everything was solved. Mahomes does not
need
need
the XFL.
He's proven that he doesn't need a number 1 wide receiver. I mean, you can consider Kelsey that, I guess, but he's still a tight end and an aging tight end at that. Like we've seen that through the season. Like Mahomes can do this shit on his own, and it's very few quarterbacks that can ever do that. Peyton Manning was one of those who would make his receivers stars. They'd go away, they'd be shitty. Tom Brady would do the same to an extent, but good Lord, man. I mean, 6 years as a starter, 3 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl MVPs, 4 appearances, 2-time MVP, all the All-Pros, all the Pro Bowls. Like, it's crazy what he and Andy Reid are doing. We'll have that debate, I'm sure, sometime in the near future of where the magic is really coming from. Is it's all Mahomes or is a lot of it Andy Reid? I think it's just the perfect combination. It's an all-time combination now of quarterback coach. It's at the point that I learned my lesson with Brady when he hit 6 Super Bowls. I'm going to stop hating on this dude. I'm just going to appreciate what I'm watching. And that's what I got to do with Mahomes now. I just got to appreciate
the Super Bowl so I can watch him play flag football.
I do want to see him play flag football. Maybe the Olympics. Maybe that's what we need in the Olympics. Zoo, you're number 1?
My number 1 is holy crap, Houston.
Yeah.
They got rid of a lot of toxicity over there. They had a real shit season, and then they capitalized on their picks and free agency. And like, that is a team that the city wants to rally around. It is a team that has a lot of fight. It's a team that has a really bright future, and it's just incredible to see like how much they've been able to turn it around in such a short time.
100% right. 100% right. I'm very excited about them, and just looking at their defense and how young those stars are on defense between Will Anderson, Christian Harris is taken off at linebacker. Yeah, Derek Stingley Jr., Henry 202. I don't even think got to play that much, but middle linebacker for them that they drafted last year. I think he'll be pretty great. The whole team is really exciting. Tank Dell getting healthy at wide receiver. Nico Collins being a stud that I trade away right at the most pivotal time in my fantasy season. Yeah.
And the Predator's still not playing.
Yeah, Predator still being shitty. Look at that. You get rid of him and it works out. Scott, your number one observation from the NFL season.
My number one observation from this past NFL season is that the Green Bay Packers do not miss on quarterbacks. I mean, you had Brett Favre in the 90s, early 2000s, and then leads into Aaron Rodgers. And then this past season was the first Jordan Love season. And just to kind of talk about stats, I mean, Aaron Rodgers last year went 8-9 through 26 touchdowns, 12 picks for 3,600 yards. Jordan Love this season went 9-8, threw for over 4,100 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. Oh, and with like sub 25 wide receivers. I mean, you had names like Jaden Reed and Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson, a lot of these young guys who nobody knows who they are, and he was still able to produce.
And I think a lot of credit goes to Matt LaFleur too. Like he erased a lot of doubt for me. Like that dude can coach. That team is good as hell. They're going to be fun to watch next year. Happy for Jordan Love. Very jealous of that fan base and organization because, as you say, you go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. Absolute insanity. You get a little Matt Flynn sprinkled in there, and it's just.
I forgot that was even a person.
Oh my God, I loved Matt Flynn. I thought he was going to be the next John Beck when he started. When I thought John Beck was going to be a Hall of Famer.